Hello everybody, I hope you find yourself doing well today, and if you're new to my channel, welcome. This channel informs curious learners on different places in America, and today we're looking at 9 states that don't charge their residents any income tax, and how they pull off this feat. This is an update to a video I made in 2019 that should include some new states in our analysis. Without further ado, let's get started. Texas. Texas has been one of the trendiest and most popular states to move to for many years, and this is because they have a great entertainment scene, diversity, low housing costs, and one reason, they don't have state taxes. Now, housing prices have gone up, but there are still lots of places you can buy into. How has Texas brought in revenue? Well, one, their low business tax rates have attracted so much big business that this has encouraged many companies to form or move to the area. 2, Texas is home to some of the country's largest oil reserves. And 3, they have one of the highest average property tax rates in the country. Keep in mind that property taxes being so high will make Texas very costly for your monthly expenses in the years to come. So the key is to buy at the right price now, and really, now is the time to buy if you can. Florida. The Sunshine State may be the best example of a place that so many people love, and so many people love to hate. This state is not one that's easy to categorize. From their marshes and swamplands to the islands and their many beaches, there are so many unique experiences and opportunities throughout the entire state. The primary revenue sources in Florida are taxes from business activities and sales tax. Their property tax rates are lower on average than the rest of the country, but Florida can be an expensive state to buy into. Ultimately, if you have a low rent or mortgage payment, you really can live large here. Florida is one of those states that seems to have an abundance of reasons to move there, but way more people love to visit. Now, keep in mind, if you do want to live here in Florida, or just to travel, they can have hurricanes and pretty serious natural disasters. So you may want to book from December through May to avoid any extra risks of hurricanes. And if you want to live there, educate yourself on the effects of these extreme weather patterns. Washington. The Evergreen state has been a popular place to move now for decades, primarily because of their natural beauty, low taxes, and their interesting mix of socially liberal yet fiscally conservative policies. Washington state doesn't have an income tax, but they do tax a percentage of your gross business income. Property taxes are only a bit beneath the national average, so why does Washington have no income tax? Well, the cost of providing resources is relatively low in Washington. They have access to trees for timber, hydro and wind power drastically decreases the utility costs, and the vast majority of the state's population is within close proximity, which simplifies its distribution. Many people have flocked here, particularly to the Seattle area, and this is because they have a very unique culture and pretty high income potential. The expensive nature of the state has little to do with the government as much as the demand to live here. Just make sure you can take coffee snobs, hipsters, and 8 or 9 months of rain and cloudy skies. Tennessee. Now, the volunteer state is certainly not wealthy on average, but they have a low cost of living, 4 seasons, and some of the friendliest residents of any state in America. Tennessee has recently become a very desirable destination that many are moving to. You can expect Tennessee will be the next state on this list to be one of the most popular to move to in the country, like Washington, Texas, and Florida. As of 2021, Tennessee eliminated investment taxes to officially become the 8th state that doesn't tax any form of income tax. This does mean they are more dependent upon other means of taxation. However, the property tax rate is 41% lower than the national average, so that isn't a primary funder. According to the Tennessee Department of Revenue, 2/3 of the state's tax revenue is raised from sales and usage taxes in combination with franchise and excise taxes. Their sales taxes are some of the highest in all of America, so they don't tax income. They tax property minimally and tax consumption aggressively. Tennessee is a great place, and people are moving there, especially to the Nashville area. now is a great time to buy before the prices go up. Nevada. Now, when I say Nevada, most of you probably just think about Vegas. Las Vegas is the go-to destination in the state and can easily host 40 million visitors annually. Nevada is such a popular destination that much of the state's revenue and jobs come from the tourism sector. The biggest way that Nevada seems to acquire tax revenue is through Vegas. They typically run surpluses high enough from tourism they actually charge no income tax and have one of the cheapest property tax rates in the country. The specific taxes include business taxes, gaming taxes, excise taxes, and plain old sales tax. Many people have been moving to Nevada recently, and the interesting thing is, it appeals to so many types of people. Retirees love the warm weather, young people love to party, and families enjoy the low cost of living and growing economy. Ultimately, Las Vegas and Nevada will continue to see a lot of growth, especially if they can find ways to stay open safely during this time with many closures. New Hampshire. New Hampshire is the one state on this list that's a bit different than the rest in one key way, but I'll get back to that in a minute. The Granite State is truly beautiful, and 81% of the state is forested. That's actually second in the entire country. This state has breathtaking scenery, which encompasses mountains, a bit of oceanfront, and a great fall and winter season. According to US News and World Report, New Hampshire has the third best K-12 school rankings in all of the USA. So it's beautiful, it's cold, so what about their taxes? Well, they have no sales or income tax, but they have extremely high property tax rates. So you can spend and earn tax-free, but they charge you for the type of property you own. Now, earlier I said that New Hampshire is different than the other states on the list. They are the only state here that still taxes investments. Now, the rates of these taxes and the types of taxes I'm not covering in this video, but suffice it to say, income earned from your job is not taxed here. If you want something more than that, you may want to check out other states on this list. South Dakota. Other than the Badlands National Park and Mount Rushmore, I couldn't think of much else I knew about South Dakota. They are one of the lesser populated states, primarily due to their lack of city infrastructures and their immensely cold winters. South Dakota seems to make most of its revenue through their property tax rate, which is greater than the national average, their sin tax levied on alcohol, tobacco, etc., and over 80% of their typical year's tax revenue is from sales tax. So they're pretty reliant on the economy and their tourism to bring in the bacon. So if you're interested in moving to South Dakota, you may want to keep in mind to check the property taxes in the area you're moving to, and just make sure you have a job lined up. They were one of the few states that did not shut down during any point of the pandemic. So if you are pro-shutdown, this may not be the state for you. And on the flip side, if you're against shutdowns, this could be a good choice if you're willing to put up with the cold. Alaska. If you live outside of Alaska, you probably think about either how cold and remote and unlivable it would be, or you think about the amazing times you could have exploring nature, participating in winter sports, and going fishing. I definitely fall into some of both categories, but if you are a local, you probably think of other factors of living here too. Alaska is one of the most expensive states in all of America. The cost to get food and basic necessities there are astronomical. Now, why is this relevant to taxes? Well, Alaskan residents pay very little in taxes, but that is mostly to offset the ridiculously high cost of living. They pay no state income tax and no state sales tax, but local areas are allowed to charge sales tax, unlike some states. Their property tax rates are a little under 10% higher than the national average, but residents receive a dividend from oil revenue from living here. The dividend is not a consistent amount as much as it is a return on the investment from the Alaskan oil revenue investments made by the government. Most of the population in Alaska lives in cities, especially Anchorage. If you want to live outside of a city, you had better be self-sufficient and have a strong game plan before moving into that. Wyoming. The Cowboy State is the least populated state in all of America. Not many people think of Wyoming as anything more than visiting Yellowstone National Park and skiing in Jackson Hole. But Wyoming is one of the few states that doesn't levy an income tax on their residents. Why is that? Mining, oil, and other natural resources help to fund Wyoming's state budget agendas, and that is the primary source of the state's tax revenue. Some are concerned about having a lack of diversification in the state's tax collection because they have no income tax. They are practically dependent upon natural resources and property taxes, which they have some of the lowest in the country too. Wyoming has brutally cold winters, low population, and not very many government programs, so keeping taxes low is necessary to attract new residents and keep the few residents they have to begin with. I hope you all enjoyed today's video. If you did, please like it down below and subscribe for more content like this. You can also check out other videos and playlists from my channel. And I would love to hear from you if you have anything to add. Thanks for spending part of your day with me. Take care.